We now look at why is information management important. Information management is important because it helps to ensure the consistency in data recording. You record data in the same way, in a pattern. So your school report is produced from consistent data recording. We must input a classwork grade, a homework grade, a 6 weeks test grade, and that because we must ensure consistency in data recording. You all must have a classwork grade and a homework grade and a test grade and an exam grade on your report. So we use information management to ensure that there is a consistency in the pattern in which we record data. It helps to ensure effective functioning of organization. So the principal will need to know who don't call them report yet. So therefore, she's going to list up those names from the office. Or which students are coming to school habitually late. Because that will help in the effective functioning of the organization. CXC must plan how many exam papers to print. They estimate how many markers they will need based on the number of students who register for exam. That is why there's a cutoff point for CXC registration, because they have to stop so they can now focus to plan for that exam next year. CXC don't know the numbers as yet, but by they collecting every school registration, collect the money for the registration and the exam fee, they can now start planning for the exam, to get the hotel to put people in, to get the markers flown in from other countries if they're overseas, to get the exam stationery printed, to get the number of invigilators in place, to get the exam papers print and packaged, to talk about the security of transferring the papers, to work out delivery of the paper, to have the admin staff to issue the papers to the principal who come for them, and work out all of those things to assist in the effective running of the organization. It assists in timely decision making by managers. Before the principal opened the school in September, they went through the whole summer and they put chairs in classroom and they count chairs and desks and they count teachers' desks and they go through the bathroom and they check the pipe them check everything and them go through the whole school. Because you need to know how many chairs to order, which toilet need to fix, which pipe need to fix, which classroom have no lock on it, which classroom grill, because she wants to make decisions as a manager so that they can repair the school before school open. You don't see anybody right now repairing the school right now because the school is in session. The AC is not working properly because they brought down since I repaired them. They have to come back in to finish repair the ACs now, but it can't be done during classes going on. It increases the understanding of situation in which decision needs to be made. It increases your understanding. When you go to the nurse, she does like this and she feels for your temperature, just so you're feeling warm, and she stick a thermometer on their arm sometimes to get your correct body temperature, and she sometimes look in your eyes, or she just say and open your mouth to say to see if there's any discoloration inside your throat. She might check your pulse sometime to see if your blood is pumping properly. She asks a question: did you eat this morning? What did you have to eat? Are you allergic to anything? And she asks a question because what she wants to do is to increase her understanding of your situation in which to make a decision. What medication will she give to you? Will she send you home? What? And then it increases the reliability of the data used in decision making. Because we went through, we count all the chairs in the school, we know where the chairs are needed. So So those of us who know this lab, these chairs were never in this lab last year because we became short of the folding chairs. Because everybody leaned on them and broke them up in them and broke out the back in them. The black chairs, most of the backs were falling out because we were leaning the chairs inside here. So the principal had to take a decision to get proper chairs for the room that don't allow you to rock them anymore. And they can't rock so easy. So you want to increase your understanding, increase the reliability. The reliability. And reliability is about the trustworthiness at which you make a decision. Reliability. How trustworthy is this decision you're making? So the principal would order 500 brown chairs in the school because you only need some in this room and the room next door. So to put 45 in this room, 45 in that room, you probably order an extra 10 or 20 chairs. So don't waste money. And adherence to steps, procedures, increases the accuracy in data management and storage. Accuracy to the steps that must be taken to ensure accurate data management and data storage. How do you store the data? How you use it? Accuracy or adherence to the steps. You know you don't pull a thumb drive out of a computer if the file is open on the screen same way. You have to close the file and then eject the thumb drive from the computer. Otherwise you will end up damaging the file because the file is still in memory. What are the benefits achieved from information management? They are numerous. There is improved decision making when data is accurate. There is improves information access and protects against improper use. It improves information access. The internet now can get you a whole heap of information you can get. It improves the information access you have and protect against improper use. Passwording. Universities have papers, policies on plagiarism. If you submit a paper to UTech and they use the software to run the paper through, as in your typed document, and they find that you have plagiarized from other sources without acknowledging the source, your paper will be graded down and they tell you how much of your paper is actually plagiarized. And once it is more than 10%, you have to redo the assignment completely. And that now will mark down the grade you can get. So if you redo the paper, you get a very good paper and worth A, you can't get an A anymore, you get a C instead because the first attempt was plagiarized. That's the rule of academic misconduct plagiarism policy at UTech. It's illegal and it's also unprofessional and it's unethical. It's not illegal, it's really unethical. It reduces wastage. When you go to a dressmaker to build a skirt, they measure you. So you know how much yard to go and buy. So there's no wastage. When you go to collect information, because you plan for it already, you know how much information you need to collect. So having the right information to make the right decision. Review previous decisions or data to assist with future decisions. So based on last year's sixth form programs, we review how the students perform and then we plan for this year's sixth form program. We look at the last 7 years data exam result to see how kids are performing in each A-level subject. Should we now take on new A-level subjects? How are we going to manage? So we review previous decision or data to assist with future decisions we need to make as a school. We review decisions. We weren't supposed to have an upper six this year. But because of situations, we had to review our policy to make it possible to take back students or to take persons in upper six to facilitate a request that came to us. It gives us what is called competitive advantage. If you have something over the person you're competing with, you have an extra edge over them. That is why Digicel is always trying to outdo Lime, and Lime also trying to outdo Digicel with lower pricing, better quality service, because why? The best product always win. There are people, even if Lime's a free call, Lime Digicel is free call. There are some people who take God up for the cross, they will not leave Digicel because they have trusted that network and they know it works. Lime don't always work. But Digicel tell you they are the bigger, better GSM network. In hurricane, sometime Lime phone went down completely. Cell phone went down. Digicel phones were still working. Lime depend on them landline technology to support internet and that. Whereas our Digicel is using terrestrial fiber optic cable around Jamaica. So there's nothing in the atmosphere affecting them. Trustworthiness to stakeholders is increased. People who are investing in your companies have a better belief in you. People trust CXC results because of why? Their information management. There's hardly any way you can go and fake a CXC result. Because trust me, it will come up and haunt you again. You can't get bogus results because the CXC system is not something you can just tamper with. Nobody can go in and print something here. You have to actually sit the exam, and the person who put the grade in the system must see the exam paper in their hand and put the grade physically in the system, and then the auditors sit down again and double check the work. So if your friend work at CXC and they put a paper in for you, and the paper is not there for you, and it was not marked in your handwriting, and you get some fake exam grade, it will reveal itself eventually one day. So there is trustworthiness in the stakeholders. Universities trust CXC grading system. They trust it. A grade 1 mean a grade 1. They trust it.
Yes, sir.
If you have a grade 1 in English or grade 1 or 2 in Com Studies and you go to UTech or UE, you don't have to sit the English entrance exam anymore. You have a grade 1 already. Because a grade 1 means a certain standard have been achieved. So why go back and do a first year English course if you already have a grade 1 in English already? You should have mastered the concepts already to write the paper. So trustworthiness is increased. Last slide is looking at slide number 7. What are the dangers of improper information management? Inaccurate data being used to make decision. If that lab was locked and she couldn't get in to cut the chairs, how should normally chase to buy for the room? Inaccurate data being used to make decision. Information being passed to unauthorized persons. People who are not supposed to get it. Can lead to propaganda. Susu, sese. Person say, let us say them say that the Prime Minister is at UWI hospital being hospitalized, and them start speculating what you have, what disease you have, or what you're sick with, without knowing for the truth. That will cause propaganda because the hospital must protect the records in the first case from improper access. And because they can't get, they start speculating. The Prime Minister of Jamaica was reported and rushed to the hospital for some unknown illnesses, and she's currently receiving medical treatment. Subsequent newscasts will give you an update on her condition. Nelson Mandela is right now recovering from an illness. Nelson Mandela has pneumonia. His lungs are failing. So because of that, nobody is speculating because the family comes out and give a release on his condition. Nelson Mandela is a world leader. For those of you who don't know, he's the first black president of South Africa after being in prison for 27 years, a part of apartheid, for something which he never did, only because he was black. So there is, when we have improper information management, it leads to propaganda or misuse of information. There is loss of trust in the IT system by stakeholders. If person can just produce CXC results and just photocopy them and change the name on them, then the stakeholders lose trust in CXC. CXC spend hundreds and millions of dollars to secure them system. Nobody can hack in and break and put in grades in a CXC system like that. And if you photocopy a CXC paper now, you see the word copy come up inside of it in the watermark. Once you photocopy a CXC certificate, the word copy come up in it. A security seal. Because they protect the integrity of their system and their procedures. Because if everybody starts lose trust in CXC result, go find it and tell us. And then it can cause loss of income. If Mrs. Steer don't know how many persons that sixth form can hold, and she says 60, but the reality is 40, and we plan a budget for 60 students but only get 40, then there's a loss of income. They can't pay the teachers. They can't buy the resources they need to run the sixth form program. Loss of privacy. You hear about in the US where medical records are now being sold in the news this week. You have to listen to the news. Somebody was selling people's medical records. That now becomes a loss of your privacy. Your medical record is a part of personal privacy. Your doctor can't release those records without your permission. Everybody have a right to privacy. That was given to you on what is called Geneva Code. When they met for the international summit in Geneva, they signed certain codes. And one of the principles that they have is that every human being have a right to personal privacy. You have a right to freedom, liberty, freedom of movement, freedom of speech. You have a right to an education. So when we don't manage education properly, we can have loss of privacy, exposure of the organizational operations to unauthorized persons. When something happens at school and picnic gets stabbed at school and they come, CVM come, no teacher can speak to the media without the principal authorization, because the principal is the head of the organization. The principal is the only person who can instruct her vice principal or anybody to give a statement to the media. Because if any teacher does that, they have breached the school's operational policy of our information management. Because if something happens on the school compound, a report must be made in writing to the principal. Statements are gathered from students. Eyewitness come in and give statements. They interview the students who saw what happened before they say anything on the matter. Because the principal can't come and say that it's the teacher first, let the student, and them stab the teacher and attack the teacher. That cannot be the case. The most she can say is that there was an incident on the school compound today at around 11 o'clock where a student attacked a teacher and the teacher was stabbed and is now hospitalized in serious but stable condition. After our investigation, we will provide further details on the matter that caused this altercation between the teacher and the students. That is it. They can only make general statement. Them can't say who did what and who threw what, and because they cannot until they have carried out their investigation as a school. So that in a nutshell is what information management is. We look at the dangers of information management, we look at the use of it, the benefits of doing it, and we look at the information management cycle.